are starting again, in this case, this class that is titled Building Towards Sustainable Development through Innovation Policies. This is a following up of the rest of the class that we have before. We are going to stress about the knowledge, learning and innovation, national systems of innovation, national system of science and technology, and knowledge production. And we are going to talk from the theoretical point of view about circular economy, green economy, and bioeconomy. But of course, I would like to relate that or link that to real examples. This is most of the things that we are going to do in this class, in this 1 hour and a half. And we were talking about the 3 most important elements that we should have in sustainable development. You can help me. The 3 elements of sustainable development. Loud, please. No. Stand, no stand. Sitting. Somebody that can help me. The 3 elements, yes.
Social well-being.
Social, economic,
environmental.
Please, okay, don't forget ever. Okay, ever. We talk about the triangle, okay? Or we have 3 circles. Now the big discussion is if we go the same size of the circles, if the circles are one or other more important, or if we have them overlap. And this is not a very cosmetic discussion. This is a controversial discussion that we have all around the world. That's why we have many books, many discussions, and many approaches to what we really are thinking about, and what are the kind of policies we develop. Then I would like to strengthen the idea that it is important to go into more strong sustainability. Then you may ask, what is strong sustainability? Yesterday, I think he was talking that we need to have a balance. You were talking about that. Then every time you say something, you need to think what he's saying. I asked him what balance means. Now I talk about we need to have strong sustainability. Okay, what strong means? Okay, does it mean that there is weak? If you are strong, the opposite is weak. And then do we have weak sustainability? Or do we have strong sustainability? Well, from the point of view of the theory, and in order to teach and in order to pass the learning process, learning process in both ways. I am here to learn from you, and I am here to also try to teach you something very well. This learning process that go back and forth, then we are writing and stating what are these terms of weak and strong sustainability. And they are related to the circles. Which 3 circles? Sustainable development is with 3 ideas. Which ones?
Educational.
Economy, social well-being, and environment.
I will go back to you like 5 times. Now we have 2. Okay. But don't worry, don't feel bad. This is a learning process, okay? Then sustainable development is understood at least of 3 components, at least through 3 elements, at least 3 circles, or at least 3 sides of a triangle. We may discuss about the size of each side of the triangle. We may have an isosceles. Let me see, we have now blackboard. Good. I don't need to erase the. We can have Let's suppose this is an isosceles triangle. Thank you. But we can have this other triangle. What is the name of this one?
Skeleton.
Very good. We are in a mathematical classroom, okay? And then we say this is the economic component. This is the social component. And let's put the environmental component on the base. Why do I put it in the base? Because everything is being sustained by the environment, by the ecosystem and the ecosystem services. We cannot have economics, we cannot have production processes without material, without inputs, without raw material. Okay? And of course we cannot have social benefits, more income, more work, more housing, more education and so forth if we don't have resources that are coming from the economics into this. Now, if we have here sociology, economics, and environment, then it means that this economy is thinking more in the economy. Okay? But we may have a different triangle. We may have another one that is very, very low here, very big here, very big here. You cannot see. Okay. But very, very small on the base. What is not possible is to have a triangle with two sides, no? Or is it possible?
Not possible.
No, huh? The definition of triangle is two sides. It's three sides. Then, that's why it's called triangle, no? Then, we cannot have sustainable development only considering two. But so far, along history, we have been considering two. It's just recently, in the last, 50, 100 years, that we have been worried about the sustainability of the environment and the need to invest in the environment and the need to consider the environment into the economy. Because it's not that we are going to add this other side just to see how much money we put in that. Many times when you talk to some economists or some politicians, you say, we must take care of the environment. We must consider the environmental policies. And the person will say, okay, I have limited budget. Which area you want me to cut in order to give you to the environment? Do you understand the logic? Okay, let's suppose you are the Minister of Economy, you are the Minister of Environment, and you are the Minister that take care of the social areas. And I am the Minister of Finance, or the President of the country. And then she is coming and saying, the national parks are being destroyed. We need to do something. The water depletion is growing. We need to do something with the water. And then we need social investment. This is the master plan that I have for the next 5 years. And then I will tell you, I have no money. Sorry. What you will do? What you will do? Now is a question for you. Because this is very, very logical, no? It's very logical that you will ask for that, and very logical that I will tell you that there is no money, no?
We will create social awareness.
Sorry?
We will create social awareness without spending a penny, without spending a money.
Is a question?
No, I'm saying some suggestion that we will create the social awareness to the people.
Yeah.
That we have to gain a sustainable development.
Yes, it's very good.
Be careful. So
Yes.
In this method, we don't need to spend money on it.
Well,
Much money.
we don't need it. Or we need it.
We don't need much money.
Well, for social awareness.
Yes.
But why not? I mean,
By doing camping, by doing in newspapers, so we are the peoples about sustainable development.
Yes, but also the teaching and also the social awareness need resources, or don't. I mean, if you want to have a campaign nationwide about that, the media or the different relationships, public relations of companies are not going to do it for free. You may do it even at the university, and then some of the people in the university must abandon what they were doing in order to take care of what they are now objective. Then everything needs resources. But I'm going to give you the word. You are not going to escape. I ask you a question.
So we can ask for the fundings and from other than the government.
Sure.
We can ask for the fundings.
Yes.
Other than the government.
Yes.
From just like some institutions, NGOs, and that are working on environment, and we can ask funding for this.
The parks and the water and so on.
Yes, for saving that water and species that are that are not.
But let's see, because I am questioning you because I want to see if I am explaining myself in a good way. In general, we are talking about sustainable development. In general, we have these three sides of the triangle. Okay? Then, in the real life, we have different ministries and different, I don't know, how you say here, Secretary of Environment or Secretary of Economics, Secretary of Industry, etc. True?
Ministers, basically.
Minister, you say? Okay.
Yes.
Huh?
This terminology we use, ministers we say.
Okay, ministers. Okay, you have ministers. Then you suppose you are the Minister of Environment. Then you need to take care with the things on the environmental sides. Okay? He is Minister of Economics, let's suppose. And he is the Minister of Social investment. Social investment may be education, health, housing, and many other things. He's always looking for resources because there are many good people. And then when he talked to me, the Minister of Finance, I would say, how much money you need? He would need a lot of money. Then I said, okay, I have a limited budget. I need to cut here to these other people that are no priority. I'm going to give you a priority. I'm going to give you more money. But I need to cut off the money to somebody, no? In order to give it to you. Is that okay? Is that clear? This is a general thinking of an administrator of the economy or administrator of the fiscal resources of the country, generally. Then my question to her was, or is again, you are coming to me and asking me to for more money because you need to take care of the parks, the water, and other things. Is logic, no? That you need more money, or not? Yes, no? Yes. Okay. You already did a very good job with NGOs, with international funding and so on, and you try to find money. But now you need to ask for money to the government. And I am the government. I am the Minister of Finance or the President or whatever. And then you come here to me and you say, you know, I need X number of million of dollars or euros or rupees, okay? And I say, I'm sorry, you know, I gave the money to this other guy. There is no money. Then what you would do? Just go and say, okay, bye-bye. No, huh? Then what? What is impossible to do? Yes, there are hands. Take into consideration there are two people that want to help you, but I'm coming back to you, okay?
If I
Please, loud, I can hear. No, you don't need to stand up. Please.
Okay, I will, if you will not have money, I will go back again and please review my plan again and try to find any other source. If I will go for, spend money for building houses using some material, and this material maybe it will need more money, and I have another option. So I will go by other option, and I should manage whatever I have now, and I try to find any innovation.
Okay.
New innovation from whatever I have and whatever I did before I can come.
Okay.
Because we need solution. Because we will, if we all of us as a ministry as working for find solution for developing our country.
Okay.
So if I will just give the ball in your hand, what should I do? Should I go back without any result, or should I try more and more to develop whatever I have?
And you also wanted to say something.
Yes, sir. If I am a Minister of Environment and I do not have funds, then I may invoke polluters pay principle. Means the industries which are polluting the environment should pay the compensatory amount so that I can invest them in saving environment. For example, in India we have some laws like compensatory act in which the industry which is destroying forest land has to like pay money for developing same amount of land or forest which it is converting into some industrial area. So I may do that.
Sir, I would look into my budget once again and try to curtail my budget and look for greener alternatives.
Greener what?
Greener alternatives,
Mm-hmm.
like zero waste building concept is there, or green building concept is there with zero waste generation, lesser use of resources, or we can say heating and cooling, artificial sources we are not using, we are using geothermal energy, like that greener alternatives with less maintenance cost also. So I think overlooking the one-time expenditure, we can go for such alternatives.
Okay. What do you think about this thing?
So we can go on for natural resources, for use of natural resources based on solar energies, using solar energies for the long run process. And this was looking back to our budget and cutting out our and on the budget we are having, we should go on that.
Okay. Let's always remember that sustainable development has three sides, at least three sides. Which sides?
They are economic, environmental, and social.
Okay, now we know. Good. I will ask you again, because this is only the third one. Okay, and what you need to do is exactly what they are saying. Try to convince me that I am not the right one, because I always have this kind of superiority that I have the money. I am the owner of the budget. He can ask for money for support for the schools or for his program of awareness. And I say, you know, very nice idea, but we have no money. Yeah, this is happening all the time. Then you need to convince the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Economics and the President and others that sustainable development is something more integral, more holistic, that it should consider everything. Because if I tell you I have no money for taking care of the water depletion, then you must immediately tell me you are going to have a bigger cost if you don't invest now. Because then the people are not going, cannot drink the water. And you are going to have strikes outside and you are going to have a big problem. You probably need to import the water in the future. If we continue burning, we are going to have a big problem also. And explain the problem. And go ahead saying, okay, we have this and this connection. My answer immediately will say, I'm sorry, yes, again, you are right, but I have no money. And then you could come with ideas. PPP, 3P, payment polluters principle. The people are polluting, sorry?
Polluter pays principle.
Sorry?
Polluter pays principle.
Yes, polluter pays principle. Yes, thank you. I made a mistake. the PPP, okay, the polluter pays principle. Then it means that the ones that are throwing the garbage or throwing the water, the spoiled water on the rivers, or that are polluting in other ways, should pay. It is not that they should pay, and there is a criticism about that, about this principle, because some people say, okay, this is kind of permission to pollute. Then if I have the money, I can't pollute. I'm sorry, if you have no money, then you cannot pollute. And then this is a principle to help the rich people. No, this is a principle to dissuade, to tell the people that not to do. Okay, not to do the pollution. We suppose that if we include this payment, then the person is going to be taking care of the production system and developing an innovation to reduce the pollution in order not to pay and in order not to have more expensive goods that they have. I always start with coal, and then later on I get a little bit high. And then this is the idea. Now, going back, I'm sorry, you rose your hand. Yeah, now you forgot what you wrote. No.
Yeah, actually I was suggesting two things. Yeah, indeed I agree with you that government have limited budgets, but taking points from all these means, I had two ideas that we can bring two principles. One is like corporate environmental responsibilities. We have a concept called CSR, corporate social responsibility, where the big bulls of the corporate will pay some, let's say, 2% of their profit for the social well-being. So in same way, we can bring something like corporate environmental responsibilities, where the big bulls of the corporate field, we can put some like 1 or 2% of their profit for the environmental protection. They can give us. And second thing is the concept of green cess, where we can have, let's say, 1% or some point of percentage of the tax separate for the environmental causes.
That's true, especially for instance, India, as you remember in the first graphics that I showed you, they have been very much in debt, 80% of the GDP right now. And probably every time they need to ask for new loans to pay the old loans and to go like that, because we need to pay expensive loans with cheaper loans. I'm talking about the rate of interest and so forth. Then one idea is that the political parties, they must approve the larger debt of the country. Then they say, okay, but then this next approval, 1% is going to the market, or 2% or 0.5%. I mean, it's important to, again, to try to convince the politicians and in general, not only the politicians, but as he said, it's a common awareness that we need to develop through education and through other ways, that is important to invest in environment in order, if we want to have a sustainable development. A sustainable development that should be at least with 3 circles. 3 circles like what?
Like economic, environmental, and social.
Very good, very good. Okay, now I was saying that we may have weak sustainability and strong sustainability. Then this from the theoretical point of view, but that in fact it goes into reality. No? I'm sorry, I am coughing since yesterday. And it's probably the change of the climate that have been affecting my health a little bit. Then, as we said before, we have these different paradigms, and we are in the 4th industrial revolution, and then there are these 3 competing elements or parts of the sustainability, economic, social, and environmental sustainability. And then some people see that sustainability as independent. Other people see this, as we saw in the graphic yesterday, nested in a model and reducing the impact of existing systems. Then if you are thinking, okay, the sustainability is only, we need to reduce the impacts of the economics or reduce the impacts of human beings working in the production processes and the living standards and so forth, then you will only go into try to make taxes, try to put restrictions, try to put new laws, and so on. But you can also see that as nested model focus on system transformation. Then it means that a radical change. If you remember, we had the three different draws of the globes integrated or separated or overlapped. Then when we go into the overlapped ones, we're going to go into more radical change with important implications. Because if we are talking about the first one, talking like this, kind of circles where we have the three slightly overlapped, we are talking very much about environmental economics. And then this is an approach of economy. There is, let's say, there is one straight economy. Let's suppose, let me try to make a drawing. Just, you need to imagine. You know the input-output table, no? The input-output analysis in economics, see? Yes? Okay, there are different sectors with a lot of numbers coming with other sectors. And they are here in this matrix, a lot of transactions. Okay? Sectors with sectors. Then this is what we analyze, the economists. The economists analyze how we all behave in the productive sectors. In general, when you talk about micro, and when you talk about macro, or when you talk about econometrics, you are analyzing how people relate to each other, how sectors relate to each other. Okay? Now, if I am saying, okay, look at this, we need to consider environmental economics. We need to consider how these sectors are affecting the environment. Then we need to think that yes, in order to do all this, we need the environment. But here it is now. No? Then let's suppose the environment is here, in this other box, in the opposite box. Then the economy is developing the productive sectors and the lines of production and throwing into the environment all the pollution, all the waste, and everything. Then here we have environmental economics coming and saying, okay, let's take care of this. Let's put a fine here, let's put a new regulation here, let's put a polluter principle in here, and so forth. Okay? Then we will have environmental economics in this side.
Yeah.
Happens that we don't need the environment only for resilience of the garbage or the waste. We also need the environment because we take from the environment, the raw materials and resources. Then we have natural resources. The ones that study agriculture economics here, raise your hand, please. The one from you are agriculture economics, okay? You are always very conscious that you are taking from the soil, taking from the water, taking from everything, and they include their calculations in as environment, as economic of natural resources. They always take care and take into consideration we generally don't have very much awareness about economics of environment, environmental economics. Then this box, as I said, is the ecosystem. What happens in this ecosystem? It happens the same than in the economics. In here there are different elements of the environment, from animals to flora and fauna, and all kind of bugs and all kind of chemical elements, CO2, nitrogen and so forth, methane, etc. They are needed in the different groups and sectors. We have economics as a big matrix of exchanges, but we have ecology also as a big matrix of exchanges of chemical elements and so forth. And we have been very separate. Ecology in one side and economy in another side. And now, because we have this crisis and because we have been facing these problems of pollution and climate change and loss of biodiversity and water depletion and so forth, then we are really developing all these areas. Actually, which is the one that is right? None of them, all of them. That's why there is a new approach. Not only the traditional economy, the environmental economics, the natural resource economics, or the people that work in the ecology, generally biologists and ecologists and so forth. But there is a building block that is called ecological economics. Ecological economics try to integrate all these four areas and generate a new dialogue, a new understanding, and no confrontation, like the example I was saying about she as a Minister of Environment and me as a Minister of Finance. Instead of confronting each other, we need to convince each other that I have no money and she has many needs and she needs things and I need to somehow respond or comply with their needs. And then maybe it's not possible to fix everything, but we need to go step by step, like with your examples, with this new approach to find a different solution. Then, now you are having problem. Huh?
Internet problem.
But may I continue with my presentation? No. Okay. Okay, I was explaining that we had a week sustainability. This week sustainability is the one that is going more in the direction of environmental economics or economics of natural resources, trying to fix things very small. If we want to have strong economics, we need to have this more integrated approach. Okay? It's complicated how to do it, and nobody really knows, because if not, it will be already done. But for the people, for the optimist people like me, we think we go in the right direction, step by step. If I wanted to go from Costa Rica to India, I needed a lot of time, many hours flying and so forth. But every time was closer. Now I'm here. Then we need to think that this is possible also to do with other things. We have
Excuse me, sir. I have a
Yes.
question. What about the environmental Kuznets curve, which states that for a nation to grow, environmental degradation is unstoppable? So what's your take on that?
again.
The environmental Kuznets curve is there.
The Kuznets curve.
Yeah. So if a nation wants to grow or develop, environmental degradation is unstoppable. So, like, what's your say on that?
Well, let's see, the Kuznets curve let me see where is the erase? Which one will you? This.
Thank you.
In fact, this is a good approach from the theory, no? That you're supposed to go polluting
Yeah, it's like a huge.
like that up to a point where you start polluting less. But this is related to how much money you have, no? And then, or produce. And then supposedly, if you have more money, there is a discussion about that. If you have more money, you are more taking care of the environment. Okay? This is not necessarily true, no? Because you can see how the countries such as United States may be polluting much more than other countries. It's also related to the quantity of people. Well, not necessarily, because the United States has much less quantity of people than China or than India, and they are polluting much more. It's according to the consumption patterns that we are developing. That's why I said before that also the path dependence is very important. In order to try to fix this, we must try to also imagine how to create new technologies to make a kind of tunnel, to go from here and make a tunnel to go into here. Okay, and not many people talk about that, but I think if here there is a tip point where pollution is decreasing, is because they have new technologies. Then sometimes we can reach the new technologies faster if we go under the whole set of problems. And adopting new technologies sometimes is easier than creating our own and more complicated.
So that will be through sustainability.
Yes, this would be another possibility of trying to find sustainability in the shorter time. But why not think that natural capital decline or problems can be compensated with new technologies? And that many times that happened. No? Before, they said all the clothes were made with textile, from cotton. And later on there are artificial synthetic fabrics. Or they can develop some things on the laboratory instead of having the natural resources to do it. However, well, like Solo in 1986, that says technology can compensate natural capital depletion. And there is a mental disconnect between human progress and economic growth from the biosphere, according to Forky. They are thinking very much about sustainability as economic sustainability, more like that, no, more like to have the economy as the driving force of this, and not discussion about sustainability transformations. This, we can say that this is kind of weak sustainability. Now, we will face a strong sustainability that is very much with ecological economics approach, that is more into a more integrated and overlap concepts or circles or sides of this sustainable development. This consider that human capital complements and interacts with natural capital. Listen to this. Human capital complements. Before we were saying natural capital declines can be compensated with human capital. Okay, now it's not that they can be compensated, but that maybe is on the opposite, it complements. It is part of it. And the natural capital decline cannot be compensated. And the sustainability is then economy and society constrained by the environment. That's why it is presented this nested model. But it's not only that, is that here we depend, the economy and the society depends of the environment. That's why the environment is out of the circle. It's like when I make a triangle and I put the base of the triangle, the environment. Okay, but it's not only this idea, it's also that we have constrained, then it is this other circle, planetary boundaries. If we are talking about innovation, the innovation should be developed within this space. Then if we do it for society, it would be in the society economic area. If we do it with environmental innovation, we do it in this other green area. If we do innovations only in the economy part, then we will do it within the center circle. Okay, this is the idea of having a strong sustainability. The implications for innovation studies are the following. A strong sustainability, there is an acknowledgement of dependence between social, economic, and environmental sustainability. And the other one was not this dependence. It was, for instance, if we were talking about agriculture economics, it is very important how the resources are, how the environment and the ecosystem provides raw material for the growth of wheat or sugarcane or other products, but as resource, as a source of health and development of the agriculture. But if you have an approach where it is also this strong sustainability, you must consider also what is going to happen with after harvest, with all the leftovers. Are you going to burn it? And what kind of impact this produce? If you're going to use pesticides, is it better to use biological pesticides or better use chemical ones? If you use fertilizers that are not so big problem, the fertilizers, but then maybe residues in the underground water. Okay. In this case, these the changes within the system are focused on generating growth and increasing social well-being, reducing the ecological impact of current productive systems and systematic failures. And then examples of these sustainable developments are, as we said before, eco-innovations and frugal innovations. Now, in order to have this a strong sustainability, we may use these approaches. They are, I would say, complementary. Some people like more one than the other, but I would say that they are very complementary. Yesterday we talked a little bit about the circular economy when they are, one of the groups also presented that was very good about the city, how to do things in the city utilizing this approach. But then the idea is to change from the linear economy that we use the materials in the linear economy, taking from the nature, making the goods or services, especially goods, use the goods and throw them away as disposal. Then we are creating a lot of waste a long time, because this has been the leading approach of the linear economy, is to do things and throw them away. I mean, the cellular phones, you know, it was, I don't know if you use Apple here. Apple. You use Apple? Apple telephones? No? Yes? The Apple telephone was Apple, I don't know, I think it was 8, Apple 8, and 1 year after Apple 9, and another year Apple 10, and if you are very young, but I have a son, a daughter, and every time they want the new one, and the other one is working, and they want to throw it away. Well, how will you throw it away? I mean, it's very expensive. Well, let's give it to somebody. Hey, come on! But not only that, the computers, the cameras, the different things, huh? And then this is the linear economy. Sometimes we think, oh, this is very much theory about that. No, it's a real, it's a practical, it's everyday thing. No? The bottled water. Huh? I drink this water, I throw away the bottle. Bottles of one use. Okay? And there are many in this direction. No? How to say, the desks or the chairs in the university or the files for the university. I have been seeing many ones downstairs. They were abandoned. Probably they are new ones. Very nice. We have new ones. The other ones I throw away. Waste and waste. What happened with the waste? I don't know. It goes. Okay? Furthermore, when we go to the toilet, we flush the water. Where it goes, it doesn't matter. It goes. I have finished. And it's accumulated, and it makes a big mess. We need to change this idea. But not only from the environmental economics, or not only from the natural resources economics, putting fines, making rules. We need to think in a more integrated and more holistic. We need to think in a more circular manner. How to make the things, use the things, collect, instead of throwing away, collect the parts that we are not using, transform them, and reuse them. And then going again and making. Then this is a new concept, or a different concept. It's very much an industrial approach, because there are many things that you cannot do like that. But definitely is a different idea of throwing away everything. Because in this line, also, what the industries want is to sell more, get more profit. In this one, they of course want to have profit, but they are considering the other elements, the environment and the society. Okay? Because at the end, the recycle produce also new jobs, new approaches, new technologies, new lines of production, and so forth. The green economy, that's the other idea that I presented. A green economy is one that results in improved human well-being. Again, it is important in every definition to see where is located the human well-being. This is not in order to have more profit. It's in order to have a better quality of life for people, better well-being and social equity, while significantly reducing environmental risk and ecological scarcities. Green economy can refer to sectors, for instance, energy, agriculture, other sectors, whatever sector, topics, pollution, water depletion, and so forth, principles, like polluter pay principle, policies, utilizing economic instruments. This definition is from United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP. I always like to have a drawing of how can we understand that. Let's have this one. If we have here waste management, okay, and we have waste prevention, resource efficiency, then in this part we have a circular economy focus. Okay? The circular economy, that one that we just saw before, is located in this part because instead of having a lot of waste, we are preventing the quantity of waste and we are using the waste in a more efficient manner, recycling and reusing and refurnishing. Now, if we also consider the ecosystem resilience, how much the ecosystem may assimilate of the waste, because after all, you know, we always throw things in the environment. The last few waste, even if we recycle, we have to throw in the environment some of the waste. But if we do not consider the carrying capacity of the ecosystem, then we will destroy the ecosystem. It's like when we have tourism. In India, there are several national parks, no? Okay, and they have probably some restriction of how many people can enter into those. It's not because somebody wanted to put a restriction. It's because if there are many people coming into this, then they actually spoil the park. Then something that we have protected. Well, the same happened in my country. We needed to have, there is a national park, it's called Manuel Antonio. It's a beach and forest at the same time. Very beautiful. Many people wanted to go there. The people that were managing the park were very happy, because everybody paid the entrance fee. Then they started to have the problem. And then they said, well, okay, let's, too much demand, we have only one supply. Then, what is logic to reduce the demand? What do you do? Raise the price of the ticket. Then they raise the price of the ticket, but people still wanted to come. And there were thousands of people coming. Then you needed finally to put a restriction of number of people, because if not, you will have a lot of money, but soon you are not going to have a park. Okay? Then the same here. We need to consider the economic ecosystem resilience, and you need to consider how much human well-being is really increasing. Then in this, if you consider all these elements, we have the green economy focus. Okay? The green economy is the result of improved human well-being, in the last one, huh? And social equity, whilst significantly reducing the environmental risk and ecological scarcities. This is a drawing developed in the European Union. Okay, the other concept, bioeconomy, or bioeconomics. Bioeconomy, in this case, we would say. Bioeconomy is the production, utilization, and conservation of biological resources, including related knowledge, science, technology, and innovation, to provide information, products, processes, and services in all sectors, with the aim of moving towards sustainable economy. This is there are many definitions. This is produced, it was produced in the Second World Bioeconomy Summit in Berlin in 2018. They are having every 2 years meetings of bioeconomists all around the world. And this is a growing society. The same with the ecological economics. You that are students of PhD, if you want to use approaches of environmental economics or natural resource economics, I challenge you, or I invite you to go into International Society of Ecological Economists. They have several conferences, meetings, and there is a strong society being developed that is very much linked to all this that we have been talking. But also there is one that is growing, that is this one on bioeconomy. Okay, the idea here is to make innovations, but including the environment. Then ECLAC is the Economic Commission of Latin America and the Caribbean. That's why ECLAC, Economic Commission, Latin America and Caribbean. states that bioeconomy is an economy based on consumption and production of goods and services derived from a direct use and sustainable transformation of biological resources. Now, what is not coming from the biology? Everything. I mean, if I think of this volume, some materials are coming from the natural resources. The laboratories develop the technology to produce this. These lines of electricity, these cables, this computer, this light projection, everything is coming from somehow different natural resources, some of them biological resources, including biomass waste generated in the transformation, production, and consumption processes. Bioeconomy is also taking advantage of the knowledge of the systems, principles, and processes. The technologies applicable to knowledge and transformation of biological resources and the emulation of biological processes. Then the idea is to do the same things than the biology or the ecosystems do. And sometimes we don't realize that we are really in the economic side and in the production side copying from the environment, from the ecology and from the ecosystems. Let's say, if you take a plane, well, a plane is no more than engineering development of the idea of seeing a bird flying. How is the bird flying? Then let's make wings, let's make a tail, okay, and then all this was developed copying from nature. A helicopter. There are some things, some bugs that goes like that, and then we copy and we make a helicopter. Digging machine with a big, how do you say, how do you say?
Excavator.
Excavating, yeah. It's like an scorpion, no? That has a big arm and made excavator. Then we are copying many things from the environment in the engineering and mechanical thing. But also we can copy from the economic point of view to see how the different elements behave within the nature. And then that's why we are trying to emulate biological processes and principles. Then now we have the three concepts of bioeconomy, circular economy, economy of the good life, or green economy, overlap. And then I try to make this drawing using the Amanto literature, but this is my own mistake or my own creation, using this theory from him, where we have the green economy as nature-based solutions, bioeconomy, bio-based substitutes, complements, and industrial inputs and outputs, and circular economy, circularity of product systems, especially the 4 R's that we saw yesterday. No, we review. Somebody has the note in your notes about the 4 R's: reuse, recycle, and refurbishing, and repair. Exactly. Okay. Then there are overlaps among the 3 of them with the use of resource efficiency and clean technology. This is more or less the idea. 2 examples. Let's see. I will go quick on this one, though it's very long, but it's because you did a great job with with the approach of many solutions for the group. I mean, the group that you were leading with the solutions for the city. No? Cities in Costa Rica with the bioeconomy approach. Cities require transition from what they are now into sustainable development model, okay? And using biological principles and processes and systems. Then what kind of issues? Well, high energy demand, agglomeration and concentration of economic activities, emission of CO2 and green gases, production of large amounts of municipality solid waste, mobility problems, deficiency in green spaces, use of available information for decision making. Then we did, in the institute that I work, SIMPE, the International Center for Economic Policy, we made an agreement with several of these cities to review what is their problem. And because they know that they had all these problems, but they cannot tackle all of them at the same time. The mayors and the municipality people wanted to fix the problems or go from the regular city into a smart and sustainable city, but how can they know? How long does it take? What is the real problem that they have? Then we made a state of the art, let's say, or a state of the situation of the city. Then in this case was the city where I live, Heredia, the county of Heredia is what it says. There is the percentage of CO2 emissions. Then you see that they have emissions from everything. Electricity consumption, petrol, wastewater, use of refrigerants, agriculture sector, fixed sources, mobile sources, management of solid waste, and non-conventional transport. All of them produce emissions, but there are certain percentages. Then the 6946 is from mobile sources, cars, especially cars, buses, motorcycles, and so on. It gives us a very clear signal, no, where we should start. If you are the mayor of this city, you are not going to start for, I don't know, cooking combustion. Because you may start for that, because sometimes happen. Sometimes people say, look at this big problem. Let's start for the easy one. Okay, well, yeah, you may start for the easy one, but you will not have a big impact. You want to have a larger impact, then you start in this way. Or the second one, 1149, is wastewater pollution. Then we review each one of the cities, 20 cities. First, we have an economy based on fossil fuels, an energy matrix with approximately 75% of fossil fuels, 25% renewable sources. Most of the emissions come from mobile sources, and a particular case in this is from mobile sources. Solid waste, we reviewed the time, what happened with the solid waste. We are producing 4,000 tons of solid waste per day. Okay, but if we divide and review what is this solid waste percentages, is organic 738 tons, valuable 467 tons, and then others only 200 tons. Then it means that we have valuable waste, but it's thrown away. Nobody collect or recycle or anything. And organic, that can be used for manure or for fertilizers or for other things, is thrown away. Therefore, what is the big challenge we have? Well, to apply the things that we have been talking. Yesterday, I left you with a question. Go to your house and think, why all your wonderful ideas are not working? He was asking, he was telling me at the end of the class, everybody knows in the agriculture sector that it should not be burning the shops. Okay.
87.
Yeah, everybody knows. There's nothing new. We don't need to come to the university to learn that. Okay? However, nobody does. Stop. Nobody stop. Then why? Well, because the challenge is to make a valorization and treatment of the different things. For instance, in this case of waste from circular economy approach based on bioeconomy. We must try to reduce, recover, and reuse what we already saw, and make a sustainable transformation of waste generated by transformation, production, and consumption processes, obtaining as secondary raw materials from the waste or energy production, and to make treatments of water. In the electricity, we should build panels, solar panels, instead of having everything from polluting sources, smart grids, and better distribution generation. And we should create green spaces in order to have more CO2 sinks and biological corridors and social welfare, to go away, to have path, to have good life and rest during the weekends or something like that, and have more nice urban spaces. These are some of the challenges that we are talking about that. Then, let's see. Can I go to the internet? I think I can do it, but please help. And the people are saying, okay, we will make the state of the art or the state of the situation of each one of the cities. But this is good, but what is more important is to make a plan and to take into consideration all the different elements that are necessary to consider into a transformation into a more sustainable world or city. That it must have three elements.
Economical and environmental system.
Exactly, but each one of those can be divided in many ones. And many people would like to have many things, many variables. Then we decided to have a working group, several focus groups, several surveys, in order to identify what people really wanted to change. Because we also want to please the people, the society. We are not going to push something that it is not necessarily is better to do it, starting with the things that people consider that is possible and necessary to do the change. Then we created an index for a smart city and sustainable city. There are many. You can review in the web, you enter and write index for a smart city, and you have plenty. But it's different for us to compare Heredia, where I live, or San Jose, where is the capital, or other cities in my country that are very tiny, to Delhi, or to New York, or to Chicago, or to Tokyo. They are huge cities with huge quantity of people, with another surrounding, with another culture. Then we created a particular, is not working? We tasted in the morning, but okay, I want to show it to you because we tested in the morning and it was working. Let me finish the idea. Then the idea was to create an index that help us according to the size of the cities and according to the environmental area that we are we're facing, and so on. And I want to show you the index we did. because something similar can be done with all the ideas that you have been developing, places for disposing and managing the waste. Especially with the participation of great engineers and people from universities that know how to how this resilience is accepting these resources. And then in other parts of the country, we have only landfills where you throw them and then you cover it with earth and soil. But as we try to avoid that and to eliminate that, and now there is a legislation, a strong legislation that must be complied. And right now is an emergency situation because in the whole country we should accelerate the way that we treat the waste. Especially that there are growing more initiatives in this direction of circular economy, reusing, recycling, and so forth. Somebody asked here, raise the hand. Who raised the hand? Yes.
So you give an example about the parks. To manage the parks, we have to reduce the number of tourism entry. So what about the economic implication of that? Like those people who are dependent on tourism, how would they react and how can we manage those?
Well, they were very happy because it was a big, because they were receiving a lot of resources because a lot of visitors, no? And of course, we have established amounts of salaries and amounts of different expenses for all of them. Then, yeah, they continue doing that, and we have been developing since the last 40 years approximately a strong system of national parks, because we have many national parks. Part of the greening of the country was that we passed a law that 25% of the total land is protected. In different, not all parks, but some protected areas in different figures. Is it? Yeah. This is happening, and then the parks lately have been with fewer funding, but not because the visitors are not coming. The visitors are coming, but it's because the budget of the nation is being restricted because we are very much in debt nationally-wide, and then there are restrictions for spending much money. But I don't know if I answered clearly enough.
Another question is, if we restrict the entry of tourism in that particular park, what happens to those people who are dependent on the tourism, economic-wise?
No, but we are restricting, not eliminating, only reducing it. I mean, if before there were 15,000 coming every day, now we will say 10,000 coming every day. And with the resources that we receive from those are enough to maintain the whole park and administration running.
I think, sir, I would like to make a small observation here. The same thing is happening in Himachal a lot. Like we have lots of tourist places which were natural habitat, like the trekking sites, or near the glacier, like they were like natural thing, and like lots of tribal community were depending upon the sources, like the natural water resources and stuff. But then like the tourism took a hike in past 20 years. And like lots of youngsters, the people are going there, making a trekking, and then they are leaving lots of waste there. So in 2029, the High Court has to pass a mandate to restrict the entry to certain areas in Himachal because the waste they were passing and leaving that has poisoned the natural water which was consumed by the tribal community there. And like lots of people died and like, you know, children got sick. So like, even if the tourism, the people who are depending upon tourism, they need to make a wise choice. Like, you know, whether they wanted to, you know, support the entrepreneurship, they need to find a balance, because ultimately, you know, their habitat depend, the entire tourism depend upon maintaining that.
Well, there are some areas where are prohibited to enter, totally. And then the state must take care of that and pay for that. What happened? I mean, part of the responsibility of, for instance, Ministry of Environment or a government in general is to consider that some parts should be maintained forever. And if it is necessary to stop the entrance of the people, then it is necessary. Because also the bad behavior happens. Sometimes it's like what he's saying. We need to go into more consciousness, increase the consciousness and increase the education and so forth. But sometimes not even that is impossible. We have some parks that are volcanoes, and people want to go into the volcano, not to the volcano, into the volcano. And of course we need to say no, you cannot do that. But of course researchers do, and we have monitoring of the volcanoes every day, every minute, and so forth. But some people just like to go and do it, and then we have restrictions on that. Not only because the garbage they live there, but also because the danger that they or the risk that they are having. I wanted to show you. I think it's very illustrative. The index of sustainable, smart and sustainable cities we created in Costa Rica. And it's relatively easy to have it, especially and to understand it, especially for you economists and engineers. I proved that it was not in my plan, but in the morning I proved it with him, and it was working. But now it's not working. Then now we go for coffee, for tea. I am going to have a meeting with Professor Sandip, and then in my next turn I will show you that. Okay? Hopefully. Let's cross our fingers. Thank you for the morning.